I'm Dom Sir Antonio.
Chris Stribley.
We're here from Cera Stribley, and we're here to present Rondure House, which is a multi-res residential project in Kew. Our site's Fenwick Street. It's an absolutely beautiful street with these towering plane trees, which really almost really sparked our imagination from day one, and almost is the idea, I suppose, around our beautiful tree-like columns. In terms of the context of Studley Park precinct, there's a number of Australian brutalist buildings in the precinct, some quite famous ones, and we really like that idea of creating a kind of a modern brutalist building as a way of paying homage to the kind of architectural history of the precinct. In terms of the language of Australian brutalism, raw materiality, bold and geometric forms, pragmatic design, biophilia, and a social statement. And we really feel like Rondure House does encompass a number of these, I suppose, ideas. Everyone knows this beautiful car park. It's one of my favourite projects, but we took inspiration from the columns here, not only from the shape of them, but also the fact that this car park is a brilliant example of Australian brutalism. Our site sloped, I think it was about 6 metres from bottom to top, which was quite challenging from a design perspective. This project was a competition that was between 3 other groups that we won, and one of the two key brief requirements were to ensure that there were no south-facing dwellings, and that the building would have a really strong architectural language that presents to the street. In terms of how we came to the design outcomes, these are some of our design response diagrams. You can see how we were working with, I think it was the 10-metre height control, massaging the building through various setbacks. Because of the topology on the land, we're able to get a top floor which is set back, which enabled us to get a really beautiful penthouse with a really large deck that opened out to the west or to the northwest. And you can see in these diagrams the 3 colour codes is kind of how we were thinking about the building. We wanted the building to be grounded. We've used brickwork along the base to give it that residential quality. The next 2 levels feature our feature columns, and then the top floor was actually quite light and restrained in terms of the architectural expression. One of the key brief requirements was the fact that there was to be no south-facing dwellings, and because of the site's orientation, the long sides are the north and the south. So rather than having one central core, we decided to separate the cores, have 2 cores, which enabled us to get north-south apartments in the middle, and also meant that every apartment in the project has a dual aspect, which I think is something that's quite important to the outcome. You can just see how aggressive that slope is, and how that enabled us to get, I suppose, different aspects to different parts of the building. In terms of the actual design, we've got access from the southern side, which is a lovely landscaped walkway into the site. By creating 2 cores, it enabled us to create a really generous lobby. And at the rear, we are quite set into the ground at that point. So we decided to introduce a common area where there's a bar and a lounge. And then there's also, off that is the building storage units, which they're a bit better than just storage units. They're actually, people are using them for various aspects. So whether it's small offices or just storage, or
There's a ceramic person down there. There's also with an easel set up. There's also someone that uses it as their bike repair shop. So they're all conditioned spaces, and they are set up to however they want to use them.
This is the level 1 and level 2 plan, and you can see how that dual floor arrangement works, and how that enabled us to get some north-south apartments in the centre to avoid any south-facing, solely south-facing apartments. Just flicking through the plans, and penthouse, which is, as I said, quite restrained in terms of the architectural expression. I briefly mentioned the amenities in the lobby. One really important aspect of this project, we worked with Tom Dixon, who's a lighting designer out of London. They also have an interior design studio, and we worked with them. They designed a few features within the project. So I think collaborating with a Tom Dixon was something that was quite special to us, and I think created some really fantastic outcomes. So in terms of the concrete columns, they do create these beautiful arched moments within the apartments. But we haven't only used it on the facade, but we actually take that shape internally as well, which creates a really beautiful internal feature to those apartments that face west. We wanted to stay true to the brutalist aspects of the surrounding area and some of those historical houses. So really using materials in a really honest way, and trying to keep the materials, trying not to use too many materials, I should say. Here are some of the internal shots. You can see how we've brought in those columns into the internal spaces. And these are some shots of the lobby space, which obviously featured the Tom Dixon lighting. We went a bit out there. Here we really wanted to create a sense of theatre for that lobby space. And in some ways, the gold and the travertine and the timber almost pays homage to that 60s and 70s Australian brutalist movement.
This is the bar downstairs in the basement area. What's really interesting here is, what's been a great success, is actually all the residents catch up every Friday. So this common space is used. The developer is actually invited each Friday. He goes once a month, catches up with all of them. We've been a couple of times when it was handed over. So it was the developer took a bit of a risk to spend so much on this and really not, and it's just been such a great success.